The scissors snapped, metal against fabric, and the room seemed to hold its breath. A waitress in a stiff black uniform leaned over Amara Lewis's chair, slicing through the seam of her white blouse as if she were cutting paper. "Let's see if you even belong here," she said, her tone sharp, mocking. Two men at a nearby table laughed under their breath, nudging each other like schoolboys. Amara didn't move. Her hand stayed flat on the menu, fingers pressing against the paper until the edge bent. She didn't protest, didn't beg. Her silence felt heavier than any shout. A couple at the next table exchanged uneasy glances. One whispered, "Why aren't they stopping her?" The waitress twirled the scissors for show, waiting for applause. But no one joined her. Eyes turned, not to the waitress, but to Amara, sitting upright, eyes locked forward, her stillness radiating a pressure that made even the laughter falter. The jeers kept coming, sharper than the blades themselves. "Cheap fabric, cheap seats," the waitress muttered, loud enough for the whole dining room to hear. She pressed the scissors close to Amara's shoulder, the cold steel grazing skin. The manager by the bar folded his arms, making no move to intervene. Amara's voice cut through the noise, low but steady, "You've made your point. Step back." Her words carried weight, but the waitress smirked, leaning closer as if daring her to resist. Around them, forks clinked against plates, then stilled. Phones tilted upward, tiny red lights recording. A man near the window whispered, "Why humiliate her like this?" Amara's chest rose slowly, measured, as if she were swallowing years of the same poison. For the briefest second her lashes lowered, a flicker of weariness that anyone who's ever been made to feel invisible would recognize. That single gesture pierced deeper than any insult. And still, she held her ground, waiting. Because beneath the restraint lay something none of them had guessed, something waiting to surface. The fabric tore wider with one last tug, and silence swallowed the room. Ink stretched across Amara's shoulder blade, an intricate crest, a ring of stars framing a coded emblem that only the trained would know. The scissors froze midair. The smirk on the waitress's face vanished. A glass clinked against the bar as two men in plain suits rose at the same time, their movements sharp, deliberate. One gave a single word that cut like a command, "Ma'am." Every head turned. The waitress stumbled back, stammering, You know her." The taller agent's gaze never left the tattoo. "We don't know her. We report to her." Chairs scraped, breaths caught. The crowd that had fed on her humiliation now sat stunned, as if the floor had tilted under their feet. That mark wasn't rebellion. It wasn't fashion. It was authority, etched into skin, older than any policy the restaurant claimed to enforce. In that instant, the balance of power flipped, and everyone knew it. The manager rushed from behind the bar, his polished shoes squeaking on the tile. His arms opened in a nervous half-gesture, voice trembling. "Ms. Lewis, this isn't what we stand for," the words collapsed under the weight of her stare. The waitress dropped the scissors, metal clattering across the floor like a gunshot. Amara rose slowly, pulling her torn sleeve back over her shoulder, her voice firm and measured, "You cut cloth. Not respect. That doesn't tear." The two agents stood beside her, not as bodyguards but as witnesses, their presence sealing the truth. Murmurs spread through the dining room. A young man whispered, "She outranks them all." The atmosphere shifted from mockery to awe, every laugh curdling into regret. For the first time, the waitress's defiance cracked, her face pale, her mouth opening but no words escaping. The crowd's eyes fixed on Amara, waiting, knowing the tide had turned and the next move was hers. Amara gathered her composure, straightening the torn edge of her blouse as though it were a badge in itself. She didn't ask for apologies, nor did she demand respect. The emblem on her skin had already redrawn the script. The manager lowered his head, issuing orders for the staff to stand down. "This place will change tonight," he muttered, his voice carrying across the hushed dining room. Amara glanced at the scissors lying abandoned on the tile, then lifted her chin, eyes sweeping the room with calm authority. Power doesn't come from uniforms or titles. It comes from how you treat people when no one is watching. The words lingered in the silence, heavy as stone. She turned toward the exit, the two agents flanking her with quiet deference. Behind her, whispers spread like ripples in water. Those who mocked her would never forget the sight of that tattoo, nor the lesson that dignity, once revealed, commands without a shout.